Happy Friday. Happy holy day to everyone. Happy Oshun Day. We give thanks to Oshun. How are you all today? I see you got one viewer. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for patiently waiting. Let me check the comments. It's your girl Shay Marie, Empress Shay Marie, back for our. I know I promised y'all yesterday, but y'all will have to please forgive me because I had a very close uncle to me pass, who actually passed last week, and we did a we had a memorial service for him, and I was debating on whether or not I was even going to be going or not, but I decided to get up and go. Peace and love. I was just listening to your straw man. Yep, peace and love. Absolutely. Um, this is just another continuation to that information from the straw man book to help us get more dive deeper into the information to dive deeper into. So, hopefully you've listened to the part one of this. I read the first 36 page, like 36 and a half pages. So we're going to pick up on page 37 today of the UCC connection, how to free yourself from legal tyranny. We'll finish that because it's only a few more pages left. And then next week, you guys, I'm going to be coming with this. I have a lot of books that we can read, a lot of small little books that are full of information, full of sauce. I've been using that word all day. There's too much sauce going around, y'all. Like, some great things are happening, amazing things are definitely happening. But as always, the negativity got to come with that, and it's always some BS that got to come with it. But that's not going to stop the flow of what the universe has for us. So we're going to keep on just pressing on. Like I said, a lot's been happening, a lot's been going on. I've been up early today doing a lot of different things, paying, just kind of plugging into a lot of different things, trying to stay abreast of what's happening, um, so that I can be able to share it with you all. So that's a little bit as to why I'm late. I had to communicate with some of my partners today, um, some of my community members. I'm actually growing two separate communities. I have a community board that we are building, and then we call it the Magnificent Six, and then the community that I've just reopened back up to everyone, at least to the next first 100 people for right now, to be able to assist you all with helping you to educate yourself with this information and use it for whatever you need to use it for. So, with that being said, make sure you all hit the like button, please. I'm going to go ahead and start reading, but please hit the thumbs up button for me and comment in the chat. You guys can definitely communicate with each other, and um, I didn't put it in the description this time, but I'm going to be putting the link to the Telegram chat in the description. So you'll have that a little bit later. So moving on with the book, we left off. We're going to pick up on section 39 of the book, which starts off saying or talking about the Social Security problem. So it says, if you were a young man, 18 or 20 years old, and just starting out, it says, if I were a young man, 18 to 20 years old, just starting out in my first job, I would not want Social Security. Along with my signature on the application, I would write, without prejudice, UCC 1-308, to reserve my common law rights. But why wouldn't I want Social Security today? I got into the Social Security system in the 1930s and I paid into it dollars that had good purchasing power. Now I'm getting a promised return in Federal Reserve notes, which have considerably less value. For example, in 1940, you could buy a deluxe Chevrolet automobile for $800. With today's Federal Reserve notes, that won't buy the rear fenders and trunk on the new Chevrolet. If I were a young man, I would not want to put Federal Reserve notes into Social Security now and get back nothing or get back something later, like the German mark after World War One when it took 1 billion marks to buy a loaf of bread. Wow. They will give you every Federal Reserve note back they promised you, but it might not buy anything. Section 40, assurance of performance. Under the UCC, you have the right in any agreement to demand a guarantee of performance. So don't go to them and say, I want to rescind my social security number or I refuse to take it. Just go easy and say, I would be happy to get a social security number and enter into this contract, but I have a little problem. How can I have assurance before I enter into this contract that the purchasing power of the Federal Reserve notes I get back at the end of the contract will be as good as the ones that I pay in at the beginning? They can't guarantee that, and you have a right under the UCC to assurance of performance of the contract. So tell them, well, I cannot enter into this contract unless the government will guarantee to pay me at the end of the contract with the same value Federal Reserve notes that I'm paying in. Both may be both may be called Federal Reserve notes, but you know that these Federal Reserve notes don't hold their value. I want assurance on this contract that Federal Reserve notes that I get in my retirement will buy as much as the ones I'm giving you now in my working years. They can't make that guarantee. If they won't give you that guarantee, just say, I'd be glad to sign this, but if you can't guarantee performance under the contract, I'm afraid I can't enter into the contract. Now did you refuse or did they refuse? You can get the sections of the UCC which grants the right of assurance that the contract you have entered will be properly fulfilled, that the return will be equal value to the investment, or you can reject the contract using the code. Using Using their own system of law, you can show that they cannot make you get into a contract of that nature. Just approach them innocently like a lamb. Remember in the first video, we talked about being harmless as doves, but wise as serpents. So that's just what this is talking about. Rose said, I just purchased this book because of your first. Hold on, let me go back. What happened? I just purchased this book because of your first reading. Awesome, Rose. So yeah, I realized that the straw man book, I actually had these since I had the straw man book, but I never took the time to actually read these. I had started reading other things. And so I, decided to come back and read these. So I decided to come live and read it with you all since I did the straw man like that as well. It's actually some valuable information in these books that, is pretty much I'm just circling back around to, and it's like all ringing a bell for me now. So, very good stuff. Okay. So it is very important to be gentle and humble in all dealings with the government or the courts. Never raise your voice or show anger. In the courtroom, always be polite and build the judge up. Call him your honor. Give him all the honor that he actually deserves. He didn't rise to his position by standing on his thumbs. It does no good to be difficult, but rather be cooperative and ask questions in a way that leads the judge to say the things which you need to have in the record. Section 41, the court reporter. In many courts, there will be a regular court reporter. He gets his job at the judge's pleasure, so he doesn't want to displease the judge. The court reporter is sworn to give an accurate transcript of every word that is spoken in the courtroom, but if the judge makes a slip of the tongue, he might turn to his court reporter and say, "I think you had better leave that out of the transcript. Just say it got a little too far ahead of you and you couldn't quite get everything in. So this will be missing from the transcript." In one case, we brought a licensed court reporter with us, and the judge got very angry and said, "This court has a licensed court reporter right here, and the record of this court is this court reporter's record. No other court reporter's record means anything in this court." We responded with, "Of course, Your Honor, we were certainly glad to use your regular court reporter, but you know, Your Honor, sometimes things move so fast that a court reporter gets a little behind and doesn't quite keep up with it all. Wouldn't it be nice if we had another licensed court reporter in the courtroom?" That's smart. That's smart. Just in case your court reporter got a little behind so that we could fill in from this other court reporter's data. I'm sure, Your Honor, that you want an accurate transcript. I like to use the saying, "Give a bad dog a good name and he'll live up to it." The judge went along with it, and from that moment on, he was very careful of what he said. These are little tricks of getting around in court. This is how to be wise as a serpent and harmless as a dove when we enter a courtroom. There are others using the same information presented here who end up in jail, handcuffed and hit over the head because they approach the situation with a chip on their shoulder. They try to tell the judge what the law is and that he is no good. He is a no good scoundrel and so on. Just be harmless and wise. Okay, guys? So give me a second. I'm going to take a sip of water. I'm going to keep reading. If you don't mind me asking, how did you come up on this information? Well, our Rose, it's very, that's a good question. So I came across this information actually about back in 2004, 2005. But at the time, it was presented to us by a group of Moors. I was very young, and still very, very not conscious and aware of, who I was at the time. And neither were my parents or my mother. I was grown. I was 18, 19, 20, maybe something like that around that age, 21. But I was young. I had children, but I just didn't know any better. So it was funny because recently I just did a public data background check on myself and discovered that back then I had became what you guys may know as a Moor or a L. There's L's and there's Bays. I'm a Bay. I chose to be a Bay now, but back then I had no idea what I was doing. So fast forward to about 3 years ago, 3.5 years ago, after my mother passed, I just started coming into an awakening and learning about who I was, learning that I'm not black, that there was a difference between law and legal, just learning a lot of different things, learning about how Christianity is a fraud, just learning about a lot of different things. On a lot of different subjects, and I was already in the business world, already, making that transition from working for someone to, creating my own way and trying to help others do the same. So I'm just a very, very spontaneous type of person where I'm curious about a lot of different things. And when I hear something and I come across it, it comes to me for a reason. And so I dive deeper into it. And I take interest to it, I just stick to it. And so this is some information that I knew for a fact that we weren't supposed to be paying bills, that we weren't supposed to be, you know, that the government was a fraud. There were so many things that I was learning about the truth about the government. And I started to teach myself and do a lot of research and just diving into a lot of different things. And I think my ancestors were sending me information because I would always wake up with new information. I still do today. I'm still being woken up with new information, new findings, new, new. It's always me waking up, at 3, 4 o'clock in the morning and finding some type of new information. So that's how I came across this information. I believe it was my ancestors. I believe it was my mother guiding me, honestly. But moving on, I want to continue reading the book. I hope that you can appreciate that answer. Um, so moving on, uh, the UCC 1-308 review. It is so important to know and understand the meaning of without prejudice UCC 1-308 in connection with your signature that we go over this once more. It is very likely that a judge will ask you what this means. So please learn and understand this carefully. The use of without prejudice UCC 1-308 in connection with your signature indicates that I have reserved my common law right not to be compelled to perform under any contract I did not enter into knowingly, voluntarily, and intentionally, and I did not accept the liability associated with the compelled benefit of an unrevealed contract or commercial agreement. Okay, so you guys want to get that? I actually brought my Oshun marker, the color yellow for the Oshun today to highlight some stuff for us. So let me grab it. Hold on one second. Okay, so I'm back. I highlighted it for you all so that you all could get that. If you didn't get it in the first reading, there it is again for you. I'll move that. And make sure you guys take a screenshot of that so that you can use this for yourselves to protect yourself and do some more research on it too. Okay, definitely want to do your due diligence. That's important. So moving forward, it says once you state this in all once you state this, this is all the judge needs to hear. Under common law, both parties must enter into a contract knowingly, voluntarily, and intentionally, or it can be declared unenforceable and void. You are claiming the right not to be compelled to perform. I'm sorry, guys. You are claiming the right not to be compelled to perform under any contract that you did not enter into knowingly, voluntarily, or intentionally, and you did not accept the liability associated with the compelled benefit of any unrevealed contract or agreement. The compelled benefit is the privilege to use the Federal Reserve notes to discharge your debt with limited liability rather than to pay your debts with silver or gold coin, rather to pay your debts with silver or gold coins. It is a compelled benefit because there are no silver and gold coins in circulation. You have to eat and you can only buy food with a medium of exchange provided by the government. You are not allowed to print your own money, so you are compelled to use theirs. This is compelled benefit of an undisclosed commercial agreement. If you have not made a valid, timely, and explicit reservation of your rights under UCC 1-308 and you exercise this benefit of using paper, non federal Federal Reserve notes offered by the government, you will be obligated under an implied agreement to obey every statute, ordinance, and regulation passed by government at all levels, federal, local, and state. Conclusion. The editor of this transcript has taken great liberties in putting this paper in an effort um to make it readable and somewhat compact. He wishes to offer his gratitude to Howard Freeman for the opportunity to work with the information so absolutely vital to our survival as dignified and unenslaved human beings. He must also ask Mr. Freeman's forgiveness for any errors committed in getting this to print. Its purpose, as stated in the foreword, is to make this knowledge as wisdom available to as many people as it will take the time to read it. This is meant to be supplemental to Mr. Freeman's recorded lectures, not a substitute. Indeed, there is no substitute for hearing him present this material in his own words. It is not just the law and the facts that are important here, but the way they are used. His numerous reminders of Jesus' commission to be like sheep among wolves cannot be overstated and is certainly good advice to us in all dealings, not just in court or with the government. Hearing him explain this in his own words brings to life the practical application and usefulness of being harmless and wise. In fact, after being introduced to this approach, it becomes difficult to imagine that any other way of defending oneself from the government would be effective. Having said that, I feel obliged to point out that one of the most difficult aspects of dealing with licensed attorney or with a licensed attorney, even a good one, may be knowing whose side he is on. After all, he is an officer of the court. So, of us who use, for those of us who have concluded that having an attorney means that you will soon be chained, gagged, and led to the gallows, this information may be indispensable. For the extraordinary challenges of appearing in court is one's own person. Pro per. Pro per. There are few reliable sources of information. Learning to defend ourselves, that is being responsible, instead of turning one more area of our lives over to professionals, may be the only way to have any chance of digging ourselves out of legal tyranny. Perhaps the greatest problem we face in education today is the matter of widespread legal illiteracy. Facts. Naturally, there will always be a number of people who just don't care about these issues, who either one, have a soft life supported and maintained by the secret system of the institutions and law which has grown up around us. I can make a bundle by buying these IRS seized homes cheap and reselling them. Or two, don't believe that anything can be done about it. You can't fight City Hall, is what they say. Don't, or three, they don't have the energy or inclination. Or three, they don't have the inkling or inclination to do anything about it. That's nice, but let's see what's on TV, they say. For those good citizens, this whole effort may seem useless or even threatening, but it is this writer's view, and God did not intend for us to spend our lives in statutory slavery for the benefit of a handful of secret world manipulators, even if the masters grant us some token of diversions and pleasure. Human dignity requires much more than entertainment. The door is there and the key exists. We must find it and we must use it to return to freedom. Let us discover the mistakes we have made. Let us find the truth. Let us apply it with meekness and wisdom. And let us gently but firmly reclaim the precious liberty and freedom which we have so foolishly given up. Well, there you have it, the UCC connection. There is a list of other publications available from Common Law Grand Jury website. You can go to nationallibertyalliance.org. I don't know if I've been to that website or not. I think I did it. I think it's actually down. If you found this information useful, I recommend contacting us for a list of other material. We hope we did put in all this effort only for some to say, yeah, that's on the internet. We tried to find stuff like this for some time now. In other John Freeman articles, we found none. Also, we like the author's approach here. Many of the so-called patriots organizations seem to be more profiteers than patriots. Y'all get that? Profiteers, meaning they're in this for profit, which I am not. I am really here to help people. This is not for profit for me. I just want to work with people who want to help free themselves. I don't want people that don't believe that it's true and have negative information or negative vibes about themselves to be around me, distracting me, or any of that. So I keep and stay to myself if I have to, or I work with those that are willing to work with me and learn with me. Let's check the chat before I move on. I appreciate your response. Not a problem at all. Our Rose, Moon Beach, gratitude, great day to you. Williams, great day. Ashe to you. Awesome book. Afternoon, Mr. Atkins. Thanks for stopping by. So let's move on. So there's actually more stuff in this book that we're gonna read, although that was the conclusion. It says, yeah, there's profiteers that they want you to be paid. They want to be paid, but after reading list of products available for however amount of money, we see the pamphlets as little as different. Absolutely. I'll tell you guys, I've been around the block for the past couple of years searching for the right way to do things, and you get told you need to do that, and then somebody's telling you that's not the right way, blase blase blase, and you go around in circles for a few times until you figure out, you get that aha moment and say, voila, magic. And so that's where I am at this point in my life, you guys. It's like Allah. It's like, wow, all this time I've been in all these circles, and this is all that I had to do. So it's real simple. And that was what I set out to do, try to take out some of the going around in circles for the rest of everyone else so that we can just do what we need to do to get what we need. Okay? Because there's no reason, no, none of us should be struggling at all. So moving forward, it says the UCC connection. I send you forth as sheep in the midst of wolves. Be ye therefore wise as a serpent and harmless as doves. And a few more quotes. When even one American who has done nothing wrong is forced by fear to shut his mind and close his mouth, then all Americans are in peril. That's from former President Harry Truman. In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man, brave, hated, and scorned. When his cause succeeds, however, the timid join him, for then it costs nothing to be a patriot. That part. That part. That part. Boy, tell me about it. Truth is less than truth until it is made known. John Wheeler. And I say that part, you guys, because you got people that say, well, show us, show us. So we could, a lot of us are from the show me state. So they want to be shown. But the truth is they want you to do all the hard work. And then they want to come in and try to benefit off of all of your hard work. But I'm going to let y'all know, y'all going to pay. Y'all definitely going to pay. Y'all definitely gonna pay. You're gonna pay something. If you don't pay attention, you're gonna pay something. Because even though I've done the work for you, it's still not as simple as y'all think it is. Okay? So you ain't getting off of that easy. Okay? Just know that. Special stuff you should know. Taking your birth certificate to court. The courts only want to charge some bogus bonds to your federal account. They need your bond or permission to do the discharge. I'm sorry. My phone keeps acting up. Okay, so they need your permission to do the discharge. Otherwise, you must pay a fine and go to jail. But they neglected to tell us that the birth certificate is the bond. And the birth certificate is proof that we are the beneficiary and not the trustee of our straw man trust account. The state is the trustee. So I hope you guys are sucking up that information. These are just little key pointers that you can use for yourself. Everything, including crime and taxes, are already prepaid through the birth certificate bond. Everything, guys. Even a piece of bubble gum, okay? In every case so far, the charges were settled and they let the fellow go without a record of crime by surrendering the birth certificate. Further, the birth certificate proves that you are the beneficiary of your straw man estate. The prosecutor is claiming that he represents the beneficiary or the state when the state is really supposed to be the trustee. So the state is acting as if they're you. You're supposed to be the beneficiary, but the state is acting as the beneficiary and they're making you the trustee, which is fraud because that's just trust fraud. It's the other way around. You're the beneficiary and they're the trustees. And so this is why they deny it. I see now why it's being denied. Okay. So when you bring the birth certificate into court, you discharge all of the charges against you and you prove that you are the beneficiary of your trust estate. And this completely shuts the prosecutor down. The prosecutor now has no standing. You bringing in the birth certificate proves that he has brought fraud into the court by claiming to be the beneficiary instead of you. You see what I'm saying, y'all? It's fraud. These little bastards. Okay? Only the beneficiary, which is you, can be the plaintiff. And I ain't even read this, y'all. I didn't even read this, but like I said, I've been studying. So I already know who I am now. Okay? And the only trustee, the state, can be the defendant. I don't have legal advice, but this is what I would do if I were in your shoes. How to proceed. 1. Take a certified copy of your birth certificate certified by the state to the court with you. So you got to get it certified by the court. By the Secretary of State, you guys. Okay? That's easy to do. Go to the Secretary of State or the DMV. It's Secretary of State where I am. I know in other states it's called the DMV. If you got your birth certificate, go get it certified. Bada boom, bada bing. That's all you got to do. Copy or it is void. Do not mark on it or it is void. So it says, basically, do not make a copy or it is void. Do not mark on it or it is void. Okay? Number 2, write down what you're going to say. You will be nervous and forgetful. So, let me hold this phone the right way so I can read, y'all. When they call your name, walk up to the bar, but do not cross it. If it is a court of record, ask them, are we on the record? Once you are satisfied you're on the record, you can proceed. If If they ask your name, ask again, are we on the record? If it's a misdemeanor, a lot of times there is no record, so just proceed. Number 4, hand the birth certificate across the bar and say, I am here on a special appearance. Let the record show that the person and the birth certificate has appeared or has been surrendered to the court. That the person and the birth certificate has been surrendered to the court, okay? If they will not come and take that birth certificate, then gently toss it across the bar into the well of the court. Note, a person is a legal fiction. You are a living soul. A living soul is not a person. Special appearance means that you are not giving the court jurisdiction over you, okay? So I need y'all to know this. And I'll let y'all take a screenshot of this page when I finish it, okay? And I'm also going to be breaking down like these short videos and creating short videos and reposting them so you guys can listen to like certain key pointers that are in this book, okay? So it says, when they say, hey, you stop, or you have a court date on such and such, just keep on going and get out. Do not respond. Do not come back. Do not let them bluff you into coming back. At that time, at the time of this writing, this approach has worked 100% of the time. However, about 5% of the folks who do this report that the court tries to threaten them with letters. The worst that may happen is that they send you a bill for whatever you're accused of and possibly the threat of an arrest warrant. Sometimes they'll send a letter with a new court date, and the very latest was a threat letter saying that there was an arrest warrant or threatening you with arrest if you do not come in to be arraigned. However, if they could have issued or served a warrant, they would have. So this has all been a bluff 100% of the time. Even in the letter that said there was an arrest warrant, there was there was one on record, but it was never processed and served. Bluff, bluff, bluff. If you receive any of these letters, mail them back with a regular letter stating that I reserved all my rights per UCC 1-308 and I do not consent. Do not enter anything into the record or place a court heading at the top of your letter, or that will be giving consent. A regular letter only. Only case has anyone reported being grabbed while leaving the court, and this man was still successful in leaving without prosecution. Alternate methods. Simply telling the court that I reserved all my rights per the UCC 1-308 and they would immediately let you go before, but not anymore. They keep coming against you, trying to trick you into their jurisdiction, which most people fall for. Filing documents into their courts and motions gives them jurisdiction. So they take the opportunity to deny everything and keep on working against you. However, UCC 1-308 is the remedy to the courts. So it is a matter of figuring out how to apply it without giving jurisdiction. The following method is almost the same as the birth certificate method above. The alternative process. Let me take a sip of water, please. All right. Number one, take a certified copy of your birth certificate, certified by the state, to the court with you. Do not make a copy or it is void. Do not mark on it or it is void. Number 2, write down what you're going to say. You'll be nervous and forgetful. When they call your name, you walk up to the bar, but do not cross it. If it is a court of record, ask them, are we on the record? Are we on the record? Once you are satisfied that you are on the record, you can proceed. If they ask your name, ask again, are we on the record? If it is a misdemeanor, a lot of times there is no record, so just proceed. Then say, I am here on special appearance. Let the record show that and state your first name only. Reserve all my rights per UCC 1 308, and I do not consent. Then turn around and leave. Okay, I hope you guys heard that. What you will say is, let me make sure I got this up here right. I am here on special appearance. Let the record show that and say your first name only, reserve all my rights per UCC 1 308, and I do not consent. Then turn around and leave. Do not stop. Do not answer any questions. When they say, hey, you stop, keep on going and get out. The following is a suggested way to handle the situation for the one fellow that might get grabbed. Do not resist if they lay hands on you and force you into the well of the court. If they do not answer to any name, if they do do not answer to any name. If they say Mr. Whatever your name is while talking to you, say, I am not that person. I am the beneficiary and I reserve all of my rights per UCC 1 308. Okay, y'all? I hope y'all listening. The judge may start asking you questions like, who are you, your name and address, and etc. This is all a trick to get you into his jurisdiction. Once you give them your full name or address, they have you. Simply say, that is immaterial. I am the beneficiary and I reserve all my rights per UCC 1 308. If they ask what to call you, simply say, you can call me the beneficiary. If the judge threatens you with contempt for giving you your name or for not giving your name or answering his question, simply ask, can anything I say be used against me? They usually will not answer you, or they may say yes. Then you remain silent. If he threatens you and if he threatens you over and over, keep asking, can anything I say be used against me? Or you can answer, you can say, I do not understand. Sometimes they will take your ID from your wallet and then ask why your picture is on it. Say, that proves I am the beneficiary. Y'all getting all this sauce? This is so much sauce. Y'all better share this. Share this with your sisters, your brothers, and all your homies need to know how to protect themselves and everything. Y'all should be sharing this out, like, for real, for real. I'm giving y'all so much sauce right now. Like, this is the real deal Holyfield, for real. I would not be on here wasting my time if it wasn't. You had to show your birth certificate to get a social security number or driver's license because the birth certificate proves you are the beneficiary who can receive it. If the judge tries to find you in contempt for not answering, others reported only being held for a few hours as a scarce tactic. Then they were let go. They cannot do anything to you unless you give them your name and your address. Ever notice that a cop asks or yells, what is your name? They have to have your name to do anything with you. Then ask, is the matter settled? They will try to hand the birth certificate back to you, but do not take it until they say the matter is settled, excused, or something to the effect. If the judge leaves the courtroom, he is trying to restart the proceedings because you have won. So say, let the record show that the judge has abandoned the case and now the case is closed with prejudice. So the case is closed with prejudice, okay? And then leave. The only thing you may get is a nasty threat of a bench warrant in the mail or an order to pay a fine, but this would be only a trick. If they could do anything at all, there would be an arrest warrant the first day. I would make note before I go in, so so you do not lose track of what you are doing. Once you get nervous, it's hard to remember everything. I always take my time and do not let them rush me. Talk slowly. They only do that to intimidate and to force you to make a mistake. So, I do not understand, is what you will say over and over again, regardless of the question. If you do not understand a question, do not answer it. Say, I do not understand. In fact, you can say this to any question the judge asks, such as, what is your name? Court tricks. They sometimes start offering plea bargains. The only way they can get you is to scare you into a plea. Okay. Without jurisdiction, your permission, which is your permission, they have to let you go. I have seen this work in courts 100% of the time, but there can always be an exception. Okay. There can always be an exception. When you say I do not understand, the judge will ask you leading questions like, do you understand English? You can read English, or can you read English, and etc. If you answer yes, then he can assume that you do understand. Simply say, no, I do not understand. The judge may say, you answered me in English. You do understand. Say, I do not understand. I do not understand is a great way to answer everything. After you tell him you are the beneficiary, and for the nervous types who cannot think under pressure, it is the best way to answer at all times, places, and circumstances. So that's whether you're with a being harassed by a police officer or a policy officer, as we like to call them, because they're policy officers. It's all they're policing is policies, not the law. Okay. So, moving forward. If you stick to your guns and not take a plea bargain, etc., charges have always been dismissed. If you are ever arrested for anything in the future, never give your name. Say you are not that person, but you are the beneficiary and living soul. So you are the living soul. You are the beneficiary. Y'all, we trusty babies, okay? Used to be that they would hold you for 72 hours and then let you go if they could not get you to answer your name or take a bail bond. So let me check the chat right quick. Awesome book. Okay, we good. So moving forward. But now they can hold you up to 10 days and then offer you bail bond or return of your own recognizances. This is the trick. If you accept the offer, you are then giving them jurisdiction. They have to let you go sometime after 10 days anyway. I am not that person, and it would be bond fraud for me to accept. Let me go. The judge will sometimes address you saying, Mr. Smith, this is Mr. Smith. That if you answer to that name, again, you are that person. The judge just tricked you into his jurisdiction. Simply say, I do not know who you are talking to. I am not that person, Mr. Smith. I am the beneficiary. I gave you the person per the birth certificate. Note, if you ever notice when someone files a lawsuit, the court will dismiss the case saying it is frivolous. What they are saying is that you cannot be the plaintiff because you are not the beneficiary. So always attach a copy of your birth certificate to the suit. All rights reserved without prejudice. Without prejudice per UCC 1-308. All lawful reservations. Without prejudice per UCC 1-308 above or below your signature on an instrument represents the following. It is not a promise to appear and eliminates perjury. It enforces the right to contract and the right to compromise an unconscionable contract. It reserves all applicable rights in Bill of Rights and Article 3 judicial power under common law. Criminal intent must be brought forward to proceed, upholds separation of power, all terms conditional dealings with contracts, judicial, and taxes, reserves personam jurisdictional issues, estoppel of subject matter jurisdiction and summary, admiralty, non-assumpsist, habeas corpus, activating clause for police power at probable cause, disrupts penumbra doctrine, confession and avoidance. Miranda will be given for you to sign. Reserve your rights on this instrument by not coming in personam at Rule 12B. So y'all need to look that up. Rule 12B. A lot of this y'all need to be looking up. Okay? Do not give up your personam to power of attorney because, okay? So I'll let y'all get a screenshot of this page because that's some good sauce right there. If y'all can get it. Let's see. It look kind of blurry to me. I'll post some pictures up. Like I said, I'm gonna do some small clips of the reading of this video and break this recording down and the previous and post them up at the same time. Okay. Okay, so it says from the last page, because you waive rights with each admission or tacit response answered by person standing in your stead, which makes you a personam for accepting this benefit. Remain silent, and the reservation will command you to justice. Without prejudice, UCC 1-308 above or below your signature not only puts a conditions on a unconditional contract, but also reserves all your rights under Article 3 judicial. Voids police power unless crime and probable cause exists. An unconstitutional statute, thought having the form of law, is in reality no law and imposes no duty, confers no rights, creates no office, bestows no power, and justifies no action on anyone and justifies no actions performed under it. American Jurisprudence 2D Section 256. The graduated income tax, for example, is unconstitutional only if the citizen abates its color of law without prejudice to him. Abate means to put an end to its effect. Okay? Without prejudice serves notice upon any agent that you are not waiving any of your stated bill of rights. Beware of agency procedure and sign everything with the reservation to make the instrument non-assumptive, free of liability. Blacks Blacks non-assumptive, the general issue in the action of assumpsit, uh, being a plea by which the defendant avers he did not partake or promise as alleged. But whenever the judicial power is called into play, it is responsible to the fundamental law, and no other authority can intervene to force or authorize the judicial body to disregard. Yakus versus U.S. 321 U.S. 414, page 468, 1944. The officer may not know the law and will probably proceed with whatever forum is to be taken per his training instructions. He is a ministerial officer of the court. He is given very little discretional knowledge when your rights are violated by agency. We must cooperate with constitutional remedy and recourse. The agent must sign forms also, and those become a permanent record of the administrative process that will receive your judicial notice. Our state citizenship is brought forth along with our personam rights, which do not mingle well with statute procedure. The purpose of your court appearance would be to gain jurisdiction over your personam. I would suggest that for study purposes that you answer politely that you do not understand the charges and without prejudice under Uniform Commercial Code 1-308 due to mistakes in fact and law. I wish to remain silent. Let me let y'all get that. Y'all need to get that for sure. Let me clean my camera off for y'all. All right, hopefully that's better. But I'll highlight. Let me see. Where's the highlighter? Goodness. I'm going to highlight this. 1 second. All right. There y'all go. I think the highlighter brings it out a little better. Screenshot. Bam. Okay. So moving along, the magistrate will have to be very constructive in his color of law procedure because his boundaries to engage you further are abated. Without contract or tacit consent to the jurisdiction, their claim is finished. Remember, you are an Article 1 inferior court brought by admiralty, and the only power this court has over the sovereign citizen is to give remedy or take the issue to the grand jury for indictment under Article 3 if there is criminal intent. The Fifth Amendment states the Fifth Amendment states no person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on presentment of a grand jury. If there is no victim and criminal intent, there is no crime. Y'all need to get that too. Most definitely need to get that. All right. Get that. So you will know that if there is no victim, there is no crime. No victim or criminal intent, there is no crime, okay? All right. You might want to get this last little paragraph too, because I don't know what it's getting ready to say, but it got some quotations around it, so snap that too. All right, y'all should have it. It may, however, be considered settled that letters or emissions containing the expression is in substance that they are to be without prejudice will not be admitted in evidence. An arrangement stating that the letter was without prejudice was held to be inadmissible as evidence. Not only will the letter bearing the words without prejudice, but also the answer thereto, which was not so guarded, was inadmissible. Ferry versus Taylor, 33 MO 323. Durgan versus Summers, 117, looks like Massachusetts 55, and Molly Nukes versus Collier, 13 Georgia 406. When we the people are put into a circumstance of compromise, the only viable solution relies on the Uniform Commercial Code and its direct link to the Constitution for these United States of America. Important UCC 1-207 was moved to 1 UCC UCC 1-308 to hide it from the public. Wow. These little sneaky bastards, boy. If all goes well, you may be put on red flag list. There appears to be 3 red flag lists. One is the judge's list, appears to be the list of people against whom the judge will not issue a warrant for arrest unless they cause injury, but the judge will still let the police ticket you or arrest you. Two is the state list. The state list is a list of people where there will not only be no arrest warrants, but where the police cannot arrest you or ticket you or detain you unless you are causing injury. You are only protected in the state that has put you on their list. If you move to another state and change to the new and change to the new state's ID, then you can get tickets and or be arrested. The first federal list is number 3. The federal list is number 3. It is like the state list, except that you are protected in all states and territories. However, you can no longer get in on this list by sending a federal judge a letter of your reservation of rights. You have to sue your way onto this list and possibly appeal. Wow. So, yeah, do some more work. But I got ways around that, you guys. So don't worry. It's a great day, everyone. I got a question. Is it okay to authenticate the certificate? Yes, you want to authenticate the certificate at the state level and the federal level. You most definitely want to do that. Join my class. Let me put this in the chat. Let me see if I can put this in the chat. Y'all want to join? I'm gonna put it in the. I put it in the. I can't put it in there right now, at least. But what I was getting ready to say. You want to join the Telegram chat, y'all, because I put a lot of information in there and I answer questions in there for you. You can schedule personal consultations with me if you'd like to do that. But a lot of information is already provided in the chat for you to help you get started doing your research and study. I'm also going live inside of the Telegram channel on next Wednesday as a meet and greet. And for anyone who has any questions or concerns, I will be answering those questions at that time. On that day, we'll also be maybe talking and discussing about maybe a time that we all get together once a week for, I want to call it Bible study, okay? So this is definitely Bible study. This what if we was to been going to church, and this is what we should have been learning in church, and not all that hooping and hollering and spitting and running around looking crazy like fools. This the shit that we should have been learning in church, okay? This what the pastor should have been teaching us instead of all that other bullshit they was wasting our times with and taking our tithes and offerings for and not giving us nothing of real substance to help us in this world. For real, for real, for real. Chris Hauser channel. No need to authenticate. No, there is not a real. Well, let's just say this. The way that I'm moving, I'm choosing to authenticate. Okay. So, no, you don't have to authenticate, but Chris Hauser knows what he's doing. A lot of our people don't. So, in that case, you want to just come talk to me, you guys. Just come talk to me because for a long time I thought it was not necessary either. But if you are trying to go as far as I'm going and as far as I've gone, then come talk to me. Because yes, Mr. Christopher Hauser says that no, you don't need to authenticate the birth certificate, but at the same time, Mr. Christopher Hauser is doing other things in order to get where he is, whatever. So sometimes there's just more than one way to skin a cat, but for me, I'm going to go ahead and get it done because it's just I feel that's something that needs to be done. It gives you more power. It definitely gives you more power and backing at the end of the day. So that's why I'm choosing to do it. I've gotten around not doing it for this long, um, and getting away with doing it, procrastinating and stuff like that. And so now, at this point in life and coming to know what I know, it's getting done, period. You need a status correction. You need to authenticate the birth certificate, period. It'll provide you with full faith and credit. It gives you more power, more access to more things that you can get, okay? Because 1099A necessity car and home, absolutely. But the 1099A is not the end all be all, sweetheart. That with so much more than the 1099A. We shouldn't even have to use a 1099A, truth be told. So the 1099A is not the end all be all. We should be definitely able to sign our signature and get whatever the hell we want. But it's not like that for a reason. So yes, a status correction makes that makes that pretty much pop. An authenticated birth certificate will make that pop a lot more harder than you just going in there without it. Like this book just said, you're putting your birth certificate on the record. This book just told us this. So the book said it. I wish I had read this book after I read the Straw Man book, and I probably would have been farther along a year ago than I am now. So, like, we can't get around it. So we got to stop being lazy, because that's what most of us is trying to do, be lazy and not have to do it. But at the end of the day, we're going to have to put in some work, period. You're going to have to put in some work. This is not no, just no. You're going to have to put in some work. You're not just about to get access to stuff and not put in no work. No, work has to be put in, period. You are claiming ownership over it. You're claiming ownership over it. Yes, pretty much. Not, yeah. Not, you're not claiming ownership. I'll take that back. You're claiming control. Because you don't want to own anything, but you're taking control over it. Versus letting these motherfuckers have control and then they not do what the fuck they're supposed to do. So yes, that's what you're doing. Taking control over it. Period. Because we don't own it. It's theirs. They own it. They the one who made it. But we can control it at the same time. So that's what we gonna do. That's what they should have told us in the fucking first place. So, moving forward, it says that how the UCC 1308 works. The UCC 1 connection, the U.S. Constitution establishes the court's jurisdiction as common law, equity, and amity under Article 3, as opposed to this. The federal corporation establishes a similar jurisdiction except under the Uniform Commercial Code. UCC 1-103 Supplementary General Principles of Law applicable. Unless displaced by the particular provisions of this act, the principles of law and equity, including the law merchant and the law relative to capacity to contract, principal and agent, estoppel, fraud, misrepresentation, duress, coercion, mistake, bankruptcy, or other validating or invalidating cause shall supplement its provisions. So we have all of these different little reasons as to why they have to do what they have to do, period. So we can hit them up with any one of those. Anytime you see law by itself, as in the foregoing, it means the common law, except that they are taking the common law jurisdiction from the contract UCC. The remedy, of course, is UCC 1-308. So the UCC is a deceptive criminal contractual constitution of sorts to those who use it against us. UCC 1-308 is the remedy for any legal process under commercial law in the United States. UCC Section 1-308, performance or acceptance under reservation of rights. A party that will that with explicit reservation of rights performs or promises performance or assents to performance in a manner demanded or offered by the other party pr- does not thereby apologies uh thereby prejudice the rights reserved. um, Such words as without prejudice under protest or the like are sufficient. Since the federal corporation is just that, a corporation, it has no jurisdiction except with those that contract with it. Also see Congressional Act of 1871 and 28 USC 3002 uh part 6, chapter 176, subchapter 176, subsection A 15. United States means a federal corporation. So as you can see here, United States is a federal corporation. Again, it is not a government. um who said okay, sorry? Why are you saying sorry? Minnesota Rule 2220, it says it all. Exactly. Absolutely. My fault controlling it. Yep, absolutely, Mrs. Somebody or Mr. Somebody. I don't know if that's Mr. or Mrs., but absolutely. Facts. Absolutely. Indubitably. Um, I'm gonna drink a glass of water, guys. We almost done here, though. We don't got that many more pages left. Just some good information. If y'all like it, please drop one in the comment or some smiley faces, or give me some emojis and give me some thumbs up if you're watching. And share this out to your people. Free your people. Tell them, put it in their face. Tell them you need to listen to this if you ever want to be free, period. Because the government not about to help you at all. They ain't doing nothing but keep trying to enslave you. The state the states illegally contracted with the federal corporation by passing the Uniform Commercial Code, making themselves as well as the unsuspecting people subject to the federal corporation and also to the state in their new commercial capacities. The Uniform Commercial Code creates the corporate state of the United States, the federal corporation, as opposed to the several de jure states of the Union. So y'all probably don't know this, but all these different states were actually countries at one time. So each state was a country. So like I'm in Michigan. So I'm a Michiganian or whatever. Like people in Africa are Africans. I'm a Michiganian. If you in Chicago, you a Chicagoan or whatever they call it out there. Or if you in Illinois, you a Illinoisian or whatever the case may be, a Mississippian. My roots are from Mississippi and North Carolina. Okay, so and Atlanta. So I got Atlantean in me, Mississippian in me. You feel me? I got we all, man, it's crazy. Y'all don't even know the history. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Let's see. As opposed to the several states of the Union, USC Title 28, Part 6, Chapter 176, Chapter A, 3002, definitions 14 states means any of the several states. Because the states accepted and passed the Uniform Commercial Code, they converted state citizens into persons, which are legal entities, articles of commerce, and the states into vessels of the United States, placing the states and the state citizens under maritime law. See the brilliant word smithing in the following. U.S. Title 18, Part 1, Chapter 2, Section 9, Vessel of the United States defined. The term vessel of the United States, as used in this title, means a vessel belonging in whole or in part to the United States, or any citizen thereof, or any corporation created or under the law of the United States, or of any state, territory, district, or possession thereof. Therefore, all color of law or all laws are contractual commercial laws, and the remedy is UCC 1-308. The Uniform Commercial Code makes all crimes commercial only by contract as per 27 CFR 7211. The problem is that only the higher courts will recognize the remedy. However, the remedy should legally and always be given without delay, on demand or claim. This, of course, is the problem. The misdemeanor courts do not have a clue as to where their jurisdiction comes from, and neither do magistrates. You have to get in front of a court with a real judge that tries felonies. The courts the courts to try the string you along under duress of threats, hoping that you can be scared into plea. But in the end, they only have to honor the remedy. 27 CFR 72.11 Disposition of Seized Personal Property. Table of Contents. Subpart B. Definition: Commercial crimes. Any of the following types of crimes, federal or state offenses against the revenue revenue laws: burglary, counterfeiting, forgery, kidnapping, larceny, robbery, illegal sale or possession of deadly weapons, prostitution, including soliciting, procuring, pandering, white slaving, keeping house of ill fame, and like offenses, extortion, swindling, and confidence gains, and attempting to commit, conspiring to commit, or compounding any of the foregoing crimes. Addiction to narcotic drugs and use of marijuana will be treated as if such were commercial crime. So they made those crimes commercial, or no, they made those offenses crimes. They're not really crimes. They're just legal commercial crimes. It's all commerce to create a way for them to tap into your trust. That's all that it is. They're trying to make money off of you, period. That's all that it is. 1938, April 25th, the Supreme Court overturned the standing precedents of the prior 150 years concerning common law in the federal government, because there is no longer silver or gold coin as Article 1, Section 10 of the Constitution. There is no federal common law, and Congress has no power to declare substantive rules of common law applicable in a state, whether they be local or general in their nature, be the commercial law or a part of law of torts. Erie Railroad Company versus Tompkins, 304 U.S. 6482 L. ed. 1188. The common law is the fountain source of substantive and remedial rights, if not our very liberties. The members and associations of the bar thereafter formed committees and granted themselves special privileges, immunities, and franchises, and held meetings concerning judicial procedures, and further to amend laws to conform to a trend of judicial decisions, or to accomplish similar objectives, including hodge hodgepodging the jurisdictions of law and equity together, which is known today as one form of action. See Constitution and Bylaws, Article 3, Section 3.3c, 1990 to 91, reference book as Colorado Methods of Practice, West Publishing, Volume 4, pages 2 through 3, author's comments. 1939, ABA, American Bar Associations, gets more involved in approval of uniform law products. 39 acts are presented to the Board of Governors of the ABA for consideration and approval. During the same year, all acts on aeronautics, and motor vehicles are eliminated, as well as the Land Registration Act, Child Labor Act of 1930, Uniform Divorce Jurisdiction Act, Firearms Act, Marriage Act, and more. 6 acts are reclassified as Model Acts. So we need to study these acts, y'all. See what they talking about, okay? So a lot of different acts that actually you can go through, and the acts are really telling you what's like what's available to us and the jobs that the authorities or the so-called authorities actually have, okay, and what they're required to do. All right. So it says 1940, at the start of the decade after deletions, etc., 53 acts out of 93 which have been approved since the group's founding remain on the books. Drafting committee for the Uniform Commercial Code UCC approved. 1941, speaking of the Uniform Commercial Code, or the Commercial Code Project, the conference president states, this is not this is the most important and the most far-reaching project on which the conference has ever embarked. It would take the major part of the next 10-year period to complete. In 1942, UCC effort begins in earnest with completion of work on the revised Uniform Sales Act. In 1943, members of the conference participate in the drafting committee in Washington, D.C. to work on legislation which the government might desire in connection with the war effort. No News Act. 1944, conference receives a $150,000 grant from Falk Foundation of Pittsburgh to support work on the UCC. 1945, no annual meeting for the first time due to difficulties of civilian transport during the war. 1946, Falk Foundation increases the support of the UCC with an additional $100,000. So who is this Falk person that's so interested? 1947, Uniform Law Conference, ULC, and America Law Institute, ALI, join in partnership to put all the components together for the UCC. Uniform Divorce Recognition Act approved. 1950, approval of the Uniform Marriage License Application Act, Uniform Adoption Act, and the Uniform Reciprocal Enforcement of Support Act, URESA. The latter has been one of the most successful ULC products. 1951, May 18th, during a joint meeting with the American Law Institution in Washington, D.C., the UCC was approved. Later that year, the ABA formally approved the code as well. Remember, the ABA is the American Bar Association. So these bastards all teamed up together to come against us, period. All right. The UCC was approved. The code as well. Considered the outstanding accomplishments of the conference, the code remains the ULC signature product as one of the uniform laws drafted by the National Conference of Commissioners on Uniform State Laws and the Uniform Law Institute governing commercial transactions, including sales and leasing of goods, transfer of funds, commercial paper, bank deposits and collections, letters of credit, bulk transfers, warehouse receipts, bills of lading, excuse me, investment securities, and secured transactions. So these are all the ways that we're supposed to be able to pay for whatever we want, you guys. Okay? Leasings of goods, transfers of funds, commercial paper. Y'all see that? Commercial paper. That's what Federal Reserve notes is. Also bank deposits and collections, letters of credit. All of this is commercial paper. It's all considered money, but they keep trying to make us only use what? Federal Reserve notes. Bullshit. Take my signature and let me get what the fuck I want, bitch. The Uniform Commercial Code, excuse my French, y'all. I hope y'all don't mind. But the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, has been adopted in whole or substantially by all states. See Black's Law 6th edition, page 1531. In essence, all court decisions are based on commercial law or business law with criminal penalties associated with it. Rather than openly calling this new law admiralty a maritime jurisdiction, it is called statutory jurisdiction, okay? America is a bankrupt nation owned completely by its creditors. The creditors own the Congress. They own the executive, they own the judiciary, and they own all the state governments. Do you have a birth certificate? They own you too. Last note. The 14th Amendment creates a lower class of citizen of the United States, rather than the higher class of citizen, which is the uppercase citizen of one of the several states of the Union. So notice that there's a difference, okay? I need y'all to notice this. I need y'all to notice this difference. You have a citizen of the United States, which is a lower class citizen, okay? Rather than a higher class citizen, which is what we're supposed to be, a citizen of one of the several states of the Union, okay? All right. The remedy provided to the 14th Amendment is an act by Congress known as 15 U.S. Statute at Large, which July 27, 1868, one day before the 14th Amendment took effect, also known as the expatriation statute. This is your remedy to claim to being a natural citizen of your state. This makes you a higher citizen and no longer subject to the Article 4 loophole that deprives you of your rights. Gone is the self-evident truth that all men are created equal. The Uniform Commercial Code is private international law that is owned by unidroits. Does the UCC apply to you? The body of learning we call conflict of laws is called private international law because it pertains to private interests, while public international law pertains to relations between states. Garner versus Teamsters, Chauffeurs and Helpers Local Union, 346 U.S. 485, 495, 98 L. Ed. 228, 74 S. Court 161, okay? In the sense of public international law, the several states of the Union are not foreign to the United States, nor are they foreign to each other, but such is not the cause in the field of private international law. Robinson versus Narado, 71 RI 256, 43, blase, 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 okay? Uniform Commercial Code by the copyright owner's own admission is private international law. In other words, the 50 United States of the Union are publicly united with each other while privately foreign to the United States. In other words, private international law pertains to private interests, and public international law pertains to public relations between states. To simplify the events that cause the confusion of public is private and private is public, we include the following. The first connection from the highest potent position is that A, 77 Stat 630 through 631, Public Law 88 through 243, and Public Law 88 through 244, 1963, says to make the Uniform Commercial Code (UCC) private law for the Municipal District of Columbia and the Federal United States. The statutory laws actions expressly affect citizens of the federal government. 77 statute 630 through 631, Public Law 888 through 243, is an act that enacts the Uniform Commercial Code for the District of Columbia and for other purposes. This is where the Uniform Commercial Code functions as the law of the land and the federal government, District of Columbia, and territories. For sake of simplicity, Public Law 88 through 244 is private law for private corporate citizens and not for the people. A private law is confined to particular individuals, associations, or corporations. 50 American Jurisprudence 12, page 28. Number two, a private law can be enforced by a court of competent jurisdiction when statutes for its enforcements are enacted. 20 American Jurisprudence 33, page 58 and 59. Number three, statutes creating corporations are private acts. 20 American Jurisprudence 35, page 60. Okay. In this connection, the Federal Reserve Act is private law. Federal Reserve banks derive their existence and corporate power from the Federal Reserve Act. Armano versus Federal Reserve Bank 468, 678, 1979, v. The distinction between public acts and private acts is not always sharply defined when published statutes are printed in their final form. Case versus Kelly, 133 U.S. 21, 1890. B. It is all private law and international law, but may be referred to as private international law, and it is owned by the same people that own public law. 88 243, 1968. The USC was written and is owned by UNIDROIT, International Institution or Institute for the Unification of Private Law, which is located within the Vatican, about 100 yards from the Holy See. To properly address public law, one must understand that private corporate charter owns public law, and public law is statutory. Public law was converted to public policy in 1938. Policy equals political equals police. All private corporations, fictions, including governments, are under public policy and can only deal with other corporations or fictions. Number two, private man is not affected by public law. Private law or public policy, as long as private man does not harm another private man, he is not statutory but lawful. Public law means of concerning or affecting the common unity of the people, the assemblage of private man. Private means not available for public use, control, or participation, belonging to a particular person or persons as opposed to the public or the government. Remember, as a corporation, the government becomes no more than any other corporate person, not holding an official or public position. The entire taxing and monetary system are hereby placed under the UCC, the Federal Tax Lien Act of 1966. The USC pays $260,000 per year to Unidroit for the use of the copyrighted UCC. Oh my God. And since the United States has signed onto the Unidroit statute, the International Institute for the Unification of Private Law, with all of which is incorporated herein by reference in its entirety, which is all about private international law, which is another name for the Uniform Commercial Code. On page 6, legislative activities, the first item is principles of international commercial contracts. And on page 10, it shows 1955 Benelux Treaty on compulsory insurance against civil liability in respect of motor vehicles. And in 1958, Convention concerning the recognition and enforcement of decisions relating to maintenance obligations towards children's Hague Conference on Private International Law. Unidroit is owned and operated by the Vatican, and they intend to enforce their religious ceremony on the millions of people on the land in America and elsewhere in the world. This is further proof that the corporation called United States is owned and operated by the Vatican to further their agenda, and they are using their commercial law to enforce their marital law or their martial law, I'm sorry. No law compels a private sector, non-governmentally privileged work eligible women or men to submit a W-4 or W-9 or their equivalent, nor to obtain or disclose a social security number as a condition of being hired or of keeping his job, with the exception of an order from a court of competent jurisdiction issued by a duly qualified judge. No amounts can be lawfully taken from one's pay for taxes, fees, or other charges without workers' explicit, intentional, knowing, voluntary, written consent. It is the matter of enforcement which gives Title 42, 1983, its unique importance, for enforcement is placed in the hands of the people. Each citizen acts as a private attorney general who takes on the mantle of the sovereign, guarding for all of us the individual liberties unicated in the Constitution. Frankenhauser versus Rizzo, 59, FRD, 1973. Y'all see that? This was said back in 1973. We got to step up to the plate, y'all. Assassination, 148. The law of war does not allow proclaiming either an individual belonging to the hostile army or a citizen or a subject of the hostile government an outlaw who may be slain without trial by any captor, any more than the modern law of peace allows such international outlawry. On the contrary, it abhors such outrage. The sternest retaliation should follow the murder committed in consequence of such proclamation, made by whatever authority civilized nations look within horror upon. Offers of rewards for the assassination of enemies as relapses into barbarism. The laws of Congress in respect to those matters do not extend into the territory limits of the states, but have farce only I'm sorry, but have farce only in the district force only in the District of Columbia and other places that are within the exclusive jurisdiction of the national government. Under the laws of commerce, truth is sovereign. The foundation of the Uniform Commercial Code, UCC, is commercial law. The foundation of the commercial law is based upon certain universal, eternal, just, valid, and moral precepts and truths. The basis of commercial law is the law of Exodus of the Old Testament, i.e., the Ten Commandments, and the Judaic or the Orthodox Hebrew commercial law of Moses. The law of commerce, unchanged for at least 6,000 years from the basis of Western civilization, if not all nations of the world. Therefore, commercial law applies universally throughout the world. Commercial law is non-judicial. It is prior to, superior to, and the basis of, and cannot be set aside or overruled by the statutes of any government, legislator, governmental or quasi-governmental agencies, courts, judges, and law enforcement agencies, all of which are under an inherent obligation to uphold said commercial law. Commercial law is a war of truth, expressed in the form of an intellectual weapon called an affidavit. An affidavit is a simply written list of facts or truths signed under the penalty of perjury and usually notarized. The person making and signing an affidavit is called an affiant. It is survival of the fittest, where the last unrebutted affidavit it stands triumph as truth. Okay. Last couple of pages looks like it's some scriptures. So we're gonna read these scriptures. It's just like one page, okay? So the 10 maxims of commercial law. This is what y'all need to write down. I'm gonna let y'all get a screenshot of this page, because these are the maxims of laws. And I'll probably just post in the community section of this of my channel, and then I'll put it also in the Telegram chat. Like, I'll do a screenshot from my phone of the book, and then something like that, or I'll type them out just to make it easier for you all. So, because we need to know these laws, right? So, number 1, a workman is worthy of his hire. Exodus 20, 15, Leviticus 19 and 13, Matthew 10 and 10, Luke 10 and 7, 2 Timothy 2 and 6. It is against the equity for a freeman not to have the free disposal of their own property. Okay? Number 2, all are equal under the law. Exodus 21, 23 through 25, Leviticus 24, 17 through 21, Deuteronomy 1:17 and 19:21, Matthew 22, 36 through 40, Luke 10, 17, I think that's Colossians 3 and 25. Then it says, no one is above the law. Commerce by the law of nations ought to be common and not be converted into a monopoly for the private gain of a few. Y'all see that? See, this what the pastor should have been telling us. But instead, they were selling us out. Moving forward. Number 3. In commerce, truth is sovereign. Exodus 20, 16. Psalms 117 and 2. John 8:32. 2 Corinthians 13 and 8. To lie is to go against the mind. Or Oriental proverb says, of all that is good, sublimity is supreme. So, Number 4, truth is expressed in the form of an affidavit. Leviticus 5, 4 through 5. Leviticus 6, 3 through 5. Leviticus 19, 11 through 13. Numbers 30 through 30 and 2. Matthew 5, 33. James 5 and 12. Number 5 says an unrebutted affidavit stands as truth in commerce. 1 Peter 1:25, Hebrews 6, 13 through 15. He who does not deny admits. Y'all see that? An unrebutted affidavit becomes judgment in commerce. Hebrews 6 and 16 through 17. Any proceeding in court, tribunal, and arbitration forum consists of a content of dual and commercial affidavits, wherein the remaining points not rebutted in the end stand as the truth of the matter to which the judgment of the law is applied. Number 7, a matter must be expressed to be resolved. Hebrews 14 through 16, Hebrews 4 through 5, Ephesians 6 through 19 through 21. He who fails to assert his rights has none. How about that? Did y'all know this shit? Did your pastor tell you this shit? How about T.D. Jakes? Did T.D. Jakes tell us this? Or any of these other major pastors that got these big ass churches and ain't giving not 1 ounce lick of truth? Because I know the pastor that I came up under, none of them told me none of this. I am a cold case from the 70s. My name is Douglas Chapman. The state of Maine is preventing me from reclaiming my identity. How are they doing that, Mr. Chapman? I mean, as long as you know who you are, it really doesn't matter what the fuck they say to me. I was apologizing for Mr. Somebody if I said the wrong info. Oh, okay, no problem, Mr. Don Brown. It's all good, my G Don Brown. Okay, got you. Yes, I'm just so in love with God's work and this his work. So please contact me. I left my email because I will love to form a powerful team to do God's work. You gotta hit me up inside of the Telegram chat. Join the Telegram. And actually before everybody joins Telegram, I'm gonna be creating another, join the Telegram for now, but I'm going to be creating a whole another group on another platform. Why? Is because there is rumors that Telegram has been compromised. And it's a lot going on over there. So we need to get off of there and get onto something more secure, which I will tell y'all about if you come into the Telegram chat and learn about it, okay? But we're gonna be on another platform. We moving off of Telegram because they on some bullshit and they trying to take away our freedom of speech and everything else. So number 8 says, he who leaves the field of the battle first does not respond to the affidavit, loses by default. Y'all see this shit? TD Jake's not teaching this shit. I need to be getting TD Jake's money just for reading y'all this Bible. Like, for real. Because this the real Bible right here. Fuck that other shit. Like, for real. It says he does not he who does not repel a wrong when he can occasions it. Number 9, sacrifice is the measure of credibility. Acts 7, life, death of Stephen. He who bears the burden ought to derive the benefit. One who is not damaged, put at risk, or willing to swear an oath on his commercial liability for the truth of his statement and the legitimacy of his actions has no basis to assert charges or claims, and forfeits all credibility and right to authority. If y'all listen to TD Jakes, y'all need to tell him y'all want y'all tithes and offering back. Or whoever made your pastor y'all was going to tell your mama to go get her money back from her pastor if he haven't told her this. A lien or claim can be satisfied only through A, rebuttal by counter affidavit, point by point, B, resolution by a jury, or C, payment or performance by the claim. Genesis 2 through 3. Matthew 4, Revelations. If the plaintiff fails to prove his case, the defendant is absolved. So this is the last paragraph, you guys, and we finished. Because truth is sovereign in commerce and everyone is responsible for propagating the truth in all their speaking, writing, and acting, all commercial processes function by affidavit, certified under oath, and to be true, correct, not misleading, and complete on each affiant's commercial liability regarding all matters stated and likewise demanded. In written matters, on nearly every document that those who run the system desires that you sign, your signature is presumed to be under penalty of perjury. In a court setting, however, testimony on an oral commercial affidavit is sworn to be the truth, the whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help me God. The participants must provide material evidence, i.e., ledgering, bookkeeping, proving each fact or entry is true, valid, verifiable, and relevant. Without the acceptance of liability, the support of one's assertions, no credibility is established. Boom! There y'all go. So that is the end of the book, you all. Here are the 10 maxims of laws at the back of the book. So you guys can get a screenshot of that. And y'all need to study them. So these are the 10 commandments. This is what Moses was trying to relate to his people. And we've been told some bullshit for too long. It's time for the truth to be exposed. So y'all need to wake up. I hope I'm not offending anyone on here. I hope there's no Christians on here. Yeah, Mr. Brown, no problem. My uncle, he was ready to go. He was in a lot of pain. And it was something I was preparing for a few months. He was actually someone who lived with me, and I actually helped to take care of him to the best of my ability. But when someone is not willing to, it's not their will that they get better, then, you can only do so much. So it was something that I had already expected to happen and had been preparing for about the past 6 months to a year. Just preparing my mind and preparing myself. So I wasn't really affected by it. And ever since my mother has passed, death has really changed me in the way I think of death. I now honor my ancestors and things of that nature. I believe that my mother's death helped usher in my awakening of these truths of what's happening. So I guess goodness came out of that. So with that being said, let me check on these other. Appreciate you, sis. Thanks. No problem. I hope you guys, yeah, definitely. The information is good. I'm enjoying reading this book myself. It's like, damn, I wish I had a read it. Like, I wish I had to just read these books after I read The Straw Man. I probably would be a lot further along than I am. But, it is what it is. Everything happens in divine timing. I had to go through what I had to go through to get where I am now. And now I know this information, you know, not like the back of my hand, but I'm getting better at knowing how to locate certain laws and knowing how to utilize certain codes and statutes for my benefit and things of that nature. I know who I am. I've learned a lot. My typing speed is picked up because it's been a minute since I've typed in an office space or anything like that, and I just be on the computer typing up all type of documents and stuff and learning all type of shit, reading, and every day this is my daily regimen of just feeding myself knowledge and getting understanding and understanding and trying to apply the knowledge that I'm learning. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Just recently got good at, just got a confidence to get out in the field and do a lot of this different footwork. Myself and another mother that's in my community, we out here doing the footwork for the people and making things happen for you all and trying to figure it all out. A lot of people don't believe this information. Like my uncle was one who told me, like, what is you gonna do? You can't do nothing. And I told him, like, y'all the reason why we still, like, y'all let them kill Malcolm. Y'all let them kill Martin Luther King. Like, y'all was the reason why, but I can't fault them all the way. They was dealing with their own situations. I look at different documentaries and videos, and I understand, some of their situations, but they should have kept fighting. They shouldn't have gave up, and they should have woke up, and they shouldn't have gave into this Christianity bullshit. That was their downfall. And it's crazy because, y'all, I have a ancestor altar, and I burn sage and stuff like that in my house. And my own father tells me that me burning sage, something as simple as some sage, so a herb, scares him and reminds him of his father when his father was uh, a numbers man. He was dealing numbers, and he was with a group of people that were doing voodoo. And I told my dad, like, y'all, I'm like, well, that probably was the best time of his life. And he probably was the protected the most around that time when he was dealing with them. And I said he probably shouldn't have left that alone and went and converted over to Christianity, like, because that was our true spirituality. That's who we were. That's what we did with our family. Our ancestors were shamans. They practiced voodoo. They practiced, and it's not nothing scary. It's our true spirituality. It's doing nothing but manipulating nature. It's using the forces of nature to benefit yourself. The stars, I mean, it's more to it than that, but like, seriously, like, all of these things we've been lied to about and told that, it's witchcraft and it's spooky, things have been made spooky to us. These are the things that are actually, that were a part of us. So, that's what it is. The truth is being revealed right now. I got blackballed 5 years ago for talking about this at church. You need to go back. You need to go back and say, hi, in your face. The truth is being revealed. And I decided to let them stay stuck at the gate. Absolutely. I walked away too. I walked away from my church too. And look, I was not going to go to my uncle's thing yesterday because I already knew what it was going to be. I knew it was about to be in a room full of sleepy people. So I said, I'm like me and my kids, we was late on purpose. And we still got caught up in the BS and had to sit through a whole sermon and people up there lying and crying and boo-hooing and spitting with all the drama fad bullshit. Like, I did not want to go, but I enjoy being around my family after all of that. Like, I love being around my family, but it was just that drama fad sermon and ceremony and program that they had to do, all this singing and screaming and hollering and jumping and crying. Like, miss me with the BS, okay? It was just like, oh, it made me feel so eerie when I was there. I haven't been to church in years. I think the last time I went to church, or it wasn't church because we have been inside of a church. It was inside of like a hall or whatever. But was when we had the memorial service for my mother. So that was back in 2000 and January 2019 or whatever. So I ain't been to church in forever, like, and I ain't wasn't planning on going back either, y'all. Like, for real. It's not your fault. We need to stop letting the worldly things distract us because that's where we all fall short to and over the looking the truth. Absolutely, absolutely. We definitely got to stop overlooking the truth, but um our people need to wake up, like, cuz them people in there, I was looking at my family like, "Oh my god, these some zombies. I can't spring this type of information on them right now because they still think Jesus exists and that he died for them 2 weeks ago. Like, miss me with that. That nigga ain't miss me. But anyways, I'm glad you all stopped by today to share some time with me. I'm going to get off of here. I wanted to make this 2 hours and I accomplished what I came to do. So most definitely next week, I'm going to be back to finish this. Y'all come to start this book and finish it, however long it takes me. Um, we'll definitely get it done next week. I'll probably come back Tuesday. I'm sorry, excuse me, on Tuesday because my Mondays be busy a little bit. So yeah, Tuesday I'll get it started and we'll read this book, Common Law Handbook for Jurors, Sheriffs, and Bailiffs. So we'll know what their positions are and what they're supposed to do. I think this is instructions for them. But we need to know that too so that we can know how to enforce it and make them do what they're supposed to do, right? So I'll be back with that one next week, y'all. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. I'm going to put the link to the Telegram chat so that y'all can get there. But we're definitely moving over to a new platform away from Telegram. because there's too much crap going on over there. So we got to get on something more secure. Okay. Um, so with that being said, I'm gonna put the link to Telegram app, and then next week we'll start on the new platform. So if anyone wants to join, I'll just have to update these last couple of videos with the new link of where we're going to be at. With that being said, you all, I appreciate you taking the time to stop by and listen to me read. I hope I didn't bore you. I hope you guys appreciated it. Um, Make sure you guys give me thumbs up. Share this out if you would like to make donations. I do accept donations for my research and development and going out and putting in the work. Like I said, I'm definitely putting in that footwork, y'all. Me and a couple other people that I'm working close and diligently with on a daily basis. They know exactly what I'm doing. So definitely accept donations. And then if you want to schedule personal consultations, you can do that too. There is a fee for the donation request for personal consultations, but anything that I have inside my Telegram chat that's already been provided to whomever is there, the members, is available to you if you join. So with that being said, it's your girl Shay Marie. I'll check back with y'all in my next video. I want to say peace and love, Islam, I self law, and master. I love y'all. Have a awesome weekend. Ashe, happy holy day again to you all. Because it's Friday. Happy Oshun Day. Ashe to Oshun. And all the gods of Friday, all the animal spirits, to the great mother, we say Ashe. Make sure y'all light y'all candles, light y'all incense, give the ancestors some love, burn your ancestor money. Um, Open up y'all intuition so that y'all can start manifesting, because there's greatness happening, that most definitely. I don't want to keep y'all too long. It's been a wonderful time sharing with y'all today, and I will see you all on my next video. Peace and love, everyone.